And we are live. Welcome to the West Coast. It is the third of a CEBL triple header, a historic Friday night in the CEBL. We've got a game being played in the Yukon right now between the Calgary Surge and the Saskatoon Mamba. But here tonight, it's the Edmonton Stingers and the Vancouver Bandits. Bandits. Let's go with that one. Hi, everybody. Welcome inside Langley Event Center to Envision Financial Court. I'm Chris Wiggins. The Vancouver Bandits, ever since that lopsided loss to the Winnipeg Sea Bears, they've caught some fire holding down home court with big wins over Brampton and Winnipeg. Assistant coach stepping in, Rans Brempong stepping in for head coach Kyle Julius, serving that 3-game suspension. The big man is 2-0 in the big chair, looking for more tonight. The Edmonton Stingers, meanwhile, on the other end of the floor, are looking for another win after a big win over Calgary on their home floor, of course, led by Nick Hornsby. We are honoring a Canadian hero here tonight at the LEC. The Bandits donning their Terry Fox jerseys. It's extended Canada Day celebrations. So happy Canada Day weekend, whatever you want to you and yours as we send it across the floor to the two calling tonight's action. Andrew Savory and the coach, Cheryl John Paul. Hi, guys.
Thanks so much, Chris. Oh, Cheryl, you gotta love it. Canada Day, obviously, a couple days ago, but we have Terry Fox night. In my opinion, the best jerseys in the CBL, proceeds going towards the Terry Fox Foundation. You have Canada versus Morocco in FIFA World Cup festivities, but right now, we're locked in here at LEC for everyone's favorite Battle of Alberta. Edmonton versus Vancouver. Edmonton coming in on a 3-game winning streak. Vancouver, as Chris said, 2-0 with interim head coach Rans Brempong. But this Edmonton team, different than the last time these two teams played. Enter Nick Hornsby, the captain, franchise leader in points. As we look at the stats for tonight's game, what's it going to take for Edmonton to keep this good thing going and pick up their 4th straight win?
You know, we've said this several times over the last few weeks where the numbers don't seem to be that different, but a lot of it is about when it happens. If you look at the total point stores, really realistically, 101 to 92, but the potent offense of the Bandits can get to 111 really quickly. And so their ability to manage some of the highs and the lows and the momentum runs are going to be critical for them tonight.
Chris joined now by Bandits interim head coach Rans Brempong. Over to you, Chris.
Rans, 2 games in three nights this weekend. How do you get started really quickly here tonight against Edmonton?
1 game at a time, right? So this is the only game that matters right now. It's the only game we're really focusing on. Edmonton's a good team. We don't want to take them lightly. I think we have enough, but we got to come out and play the right way.
Tevin Brown last weekend, fresh off the flight, 21 points. How is he fitting in?
He's fitting in really good. He's a talented scorer. He's a pro. He plays both sides of the ball, and those are the type of guys we like. We want guys that are willing to play defense as well, and he's shown he can do that as well as score.
Hey, honoring Terry Fox here tonight. I saw you posted a picture of you guarding Dirk Nowitzki in your Canada jersey. Talk about what it was like for you to rep this country.
One of the greatest experiences I had in my, in my life to this point, especially in my basketball career. People only have a certain amount of chances to rep the country, right? Sometimes you do it when you go give service in other ways, like you go to battle, but playing for Team Canada felt that way. You go to battle for your team, and you represent the name on the back, but it's one of those times it's really the name on the front. So I have great pride for doing those years spent with Team Canada, and yeah, they're great experiences playing against guys like Dirk.
Appreciate the time, Coach. Thank you. Good luck tonight. There is assistant head coach tonight of the Vancouver Bandits, Ransford Brempong. Guys, back to you.
Thanks so much, Chris. The Bandits playing for the name on the front tonight in honor of Terry Fox and playing to improve to 10-4. We have much more right around the corner. Don't go anywhere. Starting lineups right after the jump. You're watching CEBL Hoops live on CBC Sports YouTube, CBC Gem, and CEBL Plus.
Nice.
Nice intro, everyone.
welcome to a new CEBL season.
It's been amazing, Canada basketball, to put that platform and give guys an out.
The crowds were bigger, the players got better, the quality of the game got better.
You gotta love it, Canadian Goose.
Fasten your seatbelt tonight because we're going to have some high energy and some high flying stuff.
This is a trail. This is the real. It's all that I gotta say. I'm in my zone.
No shortage of emotion, no shortage of intensity as anticipated.
Sliding away. What a block from behind.
You don't just fuel your body, you fuel your drive. We're not here to preach hustle. We're here for the ones who show up. You know who you are. The moms who make mornings feel like magic. The runners lacing up before the scroll. The dreamers writing it down before it's real. And we're here for you. Real fruit, real fuel. Booster Juice. Fuel for what's next.
What keeps me going? Under the heat of the sun, or in the heat of the moment. When climbing for even one more second seems like too much. Whether you're reaching for your goal or busy setting new ones, everyone hits their limit, but that limit has a reset. Scientifically formulated to hydrate faster in the moments that matter. Electrolyte, instant hydration.
Welcome back inside Envision Financial Court at Langley Event Center. It's the Battle of BC versus Alberta. And Cheryl, you've outlined some keys to the game for these Stingers presented by CDIC. What do you got for us?
No second chances. You're playing a potent Bandits team that can score getting downhill to the free throw line, offensive rebounding. They're going to have to minimize the number of mistakes that they make today. Get paint touches, get the ball inside, and get it often. Tyrese Samuel back in the lineup after having missed the previous game. So being able to get some of those rotations are going to be important for them. And then battle of possessions, you have to understand what needs to happen against a team like the Bandits, and turning over the ball and allowing them to get to the free throw line is not going to be the way to have success. So it's going to be a very challenging circumstance for them because there's very few mistakes that you can make when you're playing against this roster.
Vancouver looking to hold down home court this weekend. This is the first of two. What are your keys to the game for the home side, the Bandits, presented by CDIC?
With the addition of Bandy and the addition of Tevin Brown, as Coach Rand said, defense is going to have to both ways. Guys that can play both sides of the basketball. So walling up is going to be an important part. It's not the initial drive that they're mismanaging now. It's about the second and third rotation. Obviously, win the small lineups. We may not see a ton of small lineups. It's been a long time since we've seen both Samuel and Parolin on the floor together. But their smaller lineups is when they tend to struggle a little bit offensive rebounding and obviously leave nothing to chance. Don't mess around with the ball. Don't play with your food at the dinner table. Whatever you need to say to these guys, especially when we get to the Target store, they need to find a way to just get the job done well.
Vancouver 9-4 with a game in hand on Winnipeg, sitting at 9-5. Two-game homestand picking up this weekend. As we take a look at the starting lineups for either squad, for the Stingers, you have Trey King III, you have Emmanuel Bandamel, Nick Hornsby, Mason Boursier, the Kelowna kid, and Scotty Lindsay as well, well known in Edmonton as a great shooter. And for the Bandits, you have Jarkel Joyner getting a lot of starting nods of late. 30-point score a couple times out. You have Tyrese Samuel, Miller Kopp, Tevin Brown's second game in the black and orange, but tonight it's the black and red in honor of Terry Fox and Lloyd Pandy. And what can you say about Lloyd Pandy? We'll get to him in just a minute, but great defense for this squad. And tonight we have a few players to watch for Edmonton. Who do you got for us?
Baz Davis Jr. has been getting the job done. He has been their clutch player the last two games. Not necessarily starting, and you won't see him in the, coming off the bench and doing some really good things, but he just has a nose for the ball, can find ways to get wins, and has been disappointing the last few opponents that they've played, especially in that fourth quarter. So he is a dynamic scorer, can get things done off the dribble, to the rim, knocks out, the big punch when he needs to. And he's been finding willing his team to win, especially over the last 3 games.
And we both love defense, so who's going to be that key defensive anchor as your player to watch for Vancouver?
Lloyd Pandy, such a great defender, finding ways to just dramatically change the outcome of different teams. Obviously 9.5, just under 10 points a game, and shooting a very high percentage field goal. So you know that he doesn't make a ton of mistakes when the ball is in his hands. And that rebounding from that guard position, which has been such a desperate need for them, especially with Tyrese Samuel out of the play. So yes, we're watching some offensive highlights right now, but folks, if you want to learn how to play the game defensively, just watch him play tonight.
A U-Sport national champion coming out of Carleton. And as you see, Vancouver repping the black and red in honor of Terry Fox's face and name emblazoned across the front, the cities that he ran through from St. John's, Newfoundland to Thunder Bay, Ontario, on the front and the back. And tonight's tip-off, presented by Spalding, the official game ball of the CEBL, off and running. As Samuel wins the tip into the hands of Joyner. Edmonton wearing the white with the navy and yellow trim. Inside to Samuel, early touch. He gets it to go. Vancouver off and running.
Establishing the inside game, and again, that's not necessarily a scoring look that they've been trying to really force early in the games with Don Parolin starting the last few, but Tyrese Samuel making his presence known quite early. Mismanaged a little bit. Okay. Also, they're trying to figure out defensively what are the Stingers going to do. Are they going to double down? Are they going to rotate early? And they left that isolation score. And if you're going to leave Samuel one-on-one, you're going to pay the price.
Can't allow him to get deep post position. And there's a steal from Lindsay. Cobb, can he get back? He's just going to let him go. That was a careless entry in the half court. Edmonton have to be careful. Coach Rand said in the pregame interview, they are not to be taken lightly. Cobb to the cup, swatted aside. Great rotation, regains. Pandy pulls up, left it short. Great defense from the Stingers. Bandsmo goes right to the basket. Couple of quick looks for Edmonton, and they have the lead. Tonight's officials, crew chief Tanner Servo, joined by Andre Babic and Alex Grunberg. Top trying to go up top to Samuel. He recovers. They were knotted here early.
Every team in the CBL experiences these roster changes throughout the season, and every time that Tyrese Samuel returns to the roster, they go through this little bit of a, oh, that's right, we've got this inside presence. And so scoring looks are a little bit rugged there. Great way to start things off for Jarkel Joyner. Lays it in after the defensive steal. But again, the rim attacks may not be the first scoring look right now because they are trying to establish the inside game.
Hornsby would have loved for continuation to have been called on that, but it's going to go sideline. Hornsby didn't start the season with Edmonton. You talk about some of the roster transition, a late arrival after playing overseas, but of course fans at the Expo Center know him quite well. All-time leader in points, rebounds, assists. Some of those records he took from his own head coach, Jordan Baker. And here's Vancouver, bobbled around. Swings over to Brown. Thinks about it, pump fake. Can't cash in. Bandits pulls up. Up to Samuel, no one to stop him with authority. Tyrese Samuel says hello and welcome on a Friday night. Hornsby. Feet moved before the ball hit the ground. That's a travel. Couple turnovers for Edmonton, committing the second most per game of any team in this CEBL. Cheryl, you mentioned it pregame, cannot give extra possessions to these Bandits.
Well, Nick Hornsby can score, but he's also second in the CBL for turnovers. So when you have the ball in his hands, because you need it in his hands, he's going to have to figure out how to manage the ball a little bit better. Traveling is not really the type of turnover you want either. It's really not based on great defense. Just a little bit rushed on the scoring look that he was trying to create.
Joyner lost his footing. Ball back to Edmonton. Boursier didn't play last time out. Nice dish to Lindsay. One of the more prolific shooters in CEBL history.
Transition break looking a little bit different. That's one of the benefits of Samuel getting that defensive rebound, is that he can just break up the floor. And look at the playmaking skills there.
Brown pulls up from deep, 20-plus points in his debut. Looking right at home here at LEC. Bandits up 7. King the third rises, fires, cashes in, Trey King.
Multiple offensive threats on this lineup. Players that can knock down the open shot, and that's definitely been a defensive rotation that the Bandits have had to shore up. So great first scoring look off of that pick and pop. Not necessarily trying to force it inside. And, you know, the last few games, the Bandits fans have seen smaller lineups for the Bandits. Some of the challenges that they've had is matching up to some of the bigs, and now again with Samuel back in the lineup, some of those rotations don't seem to be as obvious, so that pick and pop three is going to be a scoring look that the Edmonton knows now that they can get. They just have to be able to knock it down.
Samuel with a kick out, offensive board to Cobb, to Brown. Can he go 2 for 2 from deep? He does! Devin Brown, 2 for 3 off to a hot start. Extra chance opportunities favoring Vancouver. Lindsay, kick back, King the third. He nails it. He's also 2 for 2. We got a shootout on a Friday night.
Making good use of their possessions there, simply just moving the basketball until the best shot opens up. Not letting this game get out of control for either team. We've seen a lot of their best scoring looks.
Hornsby on the break to Donald. Transition basket, turning up the tempo. Edmonton hanging around. Vancouver was up 7, down to a 2-point lead. Joyner to the cup. Met by King the third. Going to go to the line for his first free throws of the night. Tonight's game, a Western Conference tilt between Edmonton and Vancouver, and the Western Conference presented by Cal Tire. As Joyner heads to the free throw line for his first 2 attempts. Like we said, pregame, Joyner, 37-point performance earlier this year, was the record before Jalen House broke it. Followed it up last Saturday. Cheryl, you were here for the Filipino Heritage game. What did you like from Joyner's performance in a big Western Conference statement game?
Allowing your team to create your scoring looks is such a great way. He's playing with speed, far more control, understanding the tempo nuances a little bit with the lineups that they had. But he's also now become the best creator on the floor. He is finding his teammates, 7-8 assists a game. So we know that he's showing a lot of the different facets. The defensive rotation there. So again, some of the challenges, Tyrese Samuel comes back into the game, and he tends to want to switch onto the guards. But oftentimes, if they've been spending the last few games of not having that switch, Dom staying on his check, someone has to rotate behind him. So there's just some miscommunication on that one. Probably the easiest basket that the Stingers can score. Miller going to work. We've seen him work a little bit more on the post-up part of his game in recent, showing that he has more than just that 3-point shot using a 6'7" frame.
Nice swing from Edmonton. Can't get the corner 3 to drop for Bandamel. Joyner takes Hornsby off the dribble. Kick back out to Kopp. From Houston, thought he could draw a foul, doesn't get the call. Tried to lean in. Refs didn't take the bait. Hornsby, easy layup, and that's tons of layups at the rim. Point blank for Edmonton tonight. Dribble penetration proving costly for Vancouver.
Something that they've been talking about this week in practice, the defensive rotations not allowing that second drive to go, and so far we've seen some defensive rotations that have not even started. So definitely something that they're going to want to talk about either at their first time out or over the break going into the second quarter. But some of these defensive lapses have been quite painful.
That last touch by Kopp. That's going to be our first stoppage. We're going to head to a break. Vancouver up 4. Already 6+ minutes gone in a fast-paced first quarter. Don't go anywhere. You're watching CEBL Hoops live on CBC Sports YouTube, CBC Gem, and CEBL Plus.
When Crystal Glass introduced our residential window line this past year, it was essential to manufacture them locally.
Crystal Glass has always been a proudly Canadian company.
We employ Canadians, we serve Canadians, and we are Canadians. So you know our windows are designed and built for our climate.
And since we've been the clear choice for glass for over 75 years, you can trust our quality and service.
Visit one of our over 50 locations across Western Canada or at crystalglass.ca. Financing is now available.
Welcome back to Envision Financial Court on Terry Fox Night at the LEC. Third annual time that they've been doing this great occasion to honor a Canadian icon. Vancouver, like we said, repping the Terry Fox tribute jerseys. Proceeds from each sale of these jerseys going to the Terry Fox Foundation. And tonight, they're up 4, an early lead on these Edmonton Stingers. You can catch the action live here in the building if you're watching at home, or maybe you're following along on social. You can follow the CEBL League on social at CEB League on all social platforms to stay up to date on stats, storylines, and more for all 10 teams in Canada's Pro Basketball League. Tons of highlights throughout this year. We already have one tonight, courtesy of Tyrese Samuel, who didn't play last weekend against Winnipeg, but they were able to pull out the win regardless. Dom Perlin freshly checking in, a big reason for that W last weekend. Also checking in is Dwayne Notice, repping the 1-0, picking up an early steal. Pandy. Notice, wide open, that's his spot. Indeed it is! Dino dialing it up from deep.
Isaac Jack stepping in as well for the Edmonton Stingers. So this is going to be, potentially trying to find the right matchups. Don switches back.
There's your player to watch. Baz Davis Jr. checking in, drawing a foul. You mentioned he's been the closer a few times out. Doesn't always start. He didn't tonight. But can he maybe electrify their offense, bring him a jolt down 7 right now?
Well, we saw that early in the season for the Bandits as well, having someone like Jarkel Joyner with some speed intensity that comes off the bench. And sometimes it is just the ratios of Canadian to import players that the teams have to figure out. But definitely a spark for this team as we see Mulder also coming onto the floor for the Bandits. And so just trying to find a little bit of a spark here. Both teams trying to maintain some of the scoring looks that they have been able to create throughout this beginning of this first quarter.
Hornsby pulls out the Euro step, tapped around. Easiest basket of the pro career for Isaac Jack. Just a soft little touch back up. Notice to the hoop, takes tons of contact from Donald. He's going to head to the free throw line for a chance for 2. Hey fans, Cal Tire is a proud partner and tire expert of the CEBL. Shop top tire brands and have peace of mind with Cal Tire's price match guarantee. Shop and book at caltire.com. As Notice gets into the lane, draws the foul and hits the first free throw. Shooting above 40% from deep, you have to respect his shot. They ran him off the line and he gets to the free throw line. Hits them both. Samuel comes back in, Pandy steps off. Hornsby. Ashton Langford. Hornsby rise. Rare air ball from Hornsby.
Tough catch on that one. Went quite low to the floor to catch the basketball, and every once in a while you have to decide, is that really the shot that you needed? Wasn't necessarily in a shot clock situation where we had to put that shot up. You know, sometimes when you look at players, when they catch and they take that one little dribble, there's times as a coach where you don't love that dribble, but sometimes in those moments it just allows the player to get their shoulders back up, take a better quality shot.
Hornsby looking to energize his team. Met by the Sultan of SWAT, Samuel. Inside to Parolin. Tough catch. He corrals and finishes. Vancouver up to a 9-point lead. Coach Baker wants to chat about it. Starting to stretch things out. Things really starting here on the defensive end for the Bandits, off and running.
Well, the depth of their roster is going to be a key factor, but whether it can generate offense from defense will be the question. So for the Stingers right now, you're looking at a situation where you found ways to get onto the score sheet fairly easily in that first, just by passing the basketball and finding some bad rotations. Now we go to this two-big lineup for the Bandits where you have Don Parolin and you have Tyrese Samuel on the floor together, and now you have some awkward switches, but their ability to change the passing lanes is what they use their length for. Don Parolin giving up that score early in a shift, making up for it. His ability to stand tall in that space, knowing that he's had to shoulder quite a bit of the pressure over the last little bit, so it's great to see him finding his scoring looks early.
And you talked about it, Vancouver already up to 10 assists, but they've already forced 4 steals as well and 6 Edmonton turnovers, which has led to them being able to get out in transition.
The last time these two teams played, there was a lot of different things. Again, when the Bandits were going through their 111-point phase, where it seemed like that was their target score for a few games in a row. The last time these two teams met, 50 points inside points for the Bandits, 27 points off of turnovers, and 22 fast break points. So if you're Edmonton, you're getting flashbacks to a game that didn't go your way. So their ability to manage those 3 aspects, taking care of the basketball, not giving up too much on turnovers, the inside touches, and again, Samuel getting to the rim on offensive rebounds is one of those things you have to manage. But then if you manage those 2 things, then again, it's not letting the Bandits get to the free throw line. So a lot of holes if you're not prepared to figure out a way to plug them.
These two teams, 11-12, the record favoring Edmonton lifetime. 1-1 this year. We're going to have a foul. Ball's going to stay with the Stingers. Stingers won the first matchup of the year at the Expo Center. Vancouver won decisively the last game at the LEC.
That foul on Dwayne Notice.
Ashton Langford pulls up over Samuel. Tough shot. Can't quite get the roll. Samuel with the board. Nice dish. Notice to Samuel. Nearly had the and one. And we've seen Notice come in and be a secondary ball handler and sometimes the primary PG. Had that near double-double in Kelowna, really orchestrating the pick and roll.
Well, the last game, uncharacteristic turnovers in the key for him, got a little bit too deep. You know, it's a very different look when Tyrese Samuel gets the defensive rebound and he breaks out. You've got Mulder in the corner. You got Devin Brown in the corner. As a defensive team, which problem are you going to solve first? Obviously, stopping the basketball is the primary scoring look, but it just breaks down from there if you're not careful. So Dwayne Notice coming in as the point, managing that first pick and roll situation. It's just meant to spread the defense wide and see if they can figure out how to handle some of these rotations.
Last touch by Mulder, a rare 0-for-2 trip to the free throw line from Samuel. About 6.5 attempts tonight, shooting around 75%. That's up from last year. Here's Davis Jr. Around to Jack's screen. Nice bounce pass inside. Cue the highlight tape. King the third, 2 hands for safety.
Getting the Bandits a little bit deeper into the rotation. Edmonton again. That was a scoring look that allowed them to maintain their lead against Calgary. Finding that defensive rotation again, just all you need is one person to watch the ball for a split second too long. Nice to see Trey King showing the inside and outside part of his game right now.
That was a pretty look-away pass. Quick pickup foul in the bonus situation, so Notice is going to head to the free throw line. Shot clock's going to be turned off on the other side of these two free throws as Notice misses the first.
Second foul picked up by Trey King, and that could be a costly one for the Stingers. Someone who's found his shooting groove, moving well off the basketball. He has 8 of their 20 points, and now he has to sit with 2 fouls, and we're not even out of the first quarter yet.
Davis Jr. on Mulder. Picks up his dribble, swings. Fighting for it into the hands of Notice. Here's Brown. Has a little bit of time to work with. He says, why not? Little short. And that's going to be all she wrote, folks, for the first quarter. Vancouver up 8, 28-20. Plenty of hoops right around the corner. Don't go anywhere. Second quarter and much more right after the jump. You're watching CEBL action live on CBC Sports YouTube, CBC Gem, and CEBL Plus.
What keeps me going? Under the heat of the sun or in the heat of the moment. When climbing for even one more second seems like too much. Whether you're reaching for your goal or busy setting new ones, everyone hits their limit, but that limit has a reset. Scientifically formulated to hydrate faster in the moments that matter. Electrolyte, instant hydration.
Let's bring it on. It's game time. It's showtime.
Gotta love a Canadian boost.
Two hands. Oh, what a block from behind.
Welcome back to Envision Financial Court inside Langley Event Center, everybody. On a Friday night, the Bandits up 8 so far over the Edmonton Stingers. We talk about it a lot. The basketball world is a very small world, especially here in the CEBL. The latest example features Bandits newcomer Tevin Brown, who of course played for the Ottawa Blackjacks in 2024 with current Bandits teammate Lloyd Pandy and Shamar Gibbons. Now that Ottawa Blackjack team lost in the conference semis to the eventual champs, the Niagara River Lions. From there, Lloyd Pandy joined Tevin Brown in Germany's basketball Bundesliga just this past season. We know this league provides lots of challenges with player movement, guys, but it always helps when you come into a new group with familiar faces and similar playing styles. So from Germany's basketball Bundesliga to teammates again here in the CEBL, good stuff.
There's some good stuff there from Tyrese Samuel breaking out the spin cycle. But that's what you need, Chris, some chemistry with all this roster transition. Vancouver searching for its winning and consistent mix. Tevin Brown, Lloyd Pandy bringing the formula. Samuel active on the glass so far here tonight. Inside, nice pass to Kopp. He's going to draw a foul. Looked like Notice might have swung that to the other side of the arc. Finds Kopp darting to the hoop. And it's nice to see Kopp, like you mentioned, Cheryl, adding that inside layer to his game.
There is names being mentioned in terms of teams moving into NBA Summer League. Miller Kopp, one of those names. And again, being able to understand what it's going to take to, for instance, fight for a two-way contract in the NBA. You can't just be one thing. And so the offensive side of things, the defensive side of things, being able to knock down some threes. We've seen some pretty great games from him. We've seen some other games not so great, but again, around that 40% mark as a three-point shooter. But when you're 6'7", you have to find a way to see if you can take advantage of your length, and great inside scoring look for him off of that cut.
Kopp double digits in scoring in 10 out of his 13 contests, being really consistent this year. The former Hoosier, Cleveland Charge alum out of the G League. Davis Jr. over to Nuga, the former Bandit. Longtime Stinger as well, going to head to the free throw line. One of the fastest end-to-end players in the CEBL. Tough to keep in front of you, Mike Nuga. New Era is the exclusive game uniform partner of the CEBL and all 10 of its teams from coast to coast. Pick up your official replica jerseys now by visiting CEBL.ca, whether it be that beautiful, crisp white with the navy and yellow trim of Edmonton, or the special tribute jersey honoring Terry Fox, the black and red, courtesy of New Era. Nuga hits them both. Joyner blows by everyone. Trying to get there was McCoy, commits the foul. Jarkel Joyner shot out of a cannon, energized to start the second quarter.
I think he got insulted by you saying Mike Nuga is one of the fastest guards in this league, and Jarkel said, "You think that's fast? I can show you some speed."
You can see Samuel brought right up to center court, kind of lulling it with the fake pick and roll, and Joyner just waves it off and goes straight to the cup. Converts the and one. Largest lead of the night for the Bandits. Wide open, Scotty Lindsay. That's a gimme.
Defensive rotation breakdowns right there. There seems to be some, are we switching this, are we staying? Samuel bumps the cutter, allows him to keep going, doesn't pick him up. And that's going to have to be something that they review and figure out.
They gave Samuel the space, he took it. As Nuga goes right to the hoop as well and throwing it down. Davis Jr. among the rafters.
Explosive finish at the rim there. Quick to elevate.
Tough pass corralled by Nuga. Back to Davis Jr. again, gets right to the cup, and he's going to have an and one opportunity. There's turnovers for Edmonton in the first quarter. Coach Rands wants to talk it over as an explosive Stinger squad. Shows exactly why they could be lethal on the run. Down to a 7-point lead for Vancouver, and they have to be careful here. Don't go anywhere. We'll catch you right after the jump. A free throw right around the corner. You're watching CEBL Basketball live on CBC Sports YouTube, CBC Gem, and CEBL Plus.
The CDIC was established by the Government of Canada to protect deposits in case of bank failure. Coverage is free and automatic when you bank with a member institution.
Whoa. Thank you. That's my job. So you were saying...
Protecting your deposits, that's what we do.
The CEBL, Canada's Pro Basketball League, and redtag.ca brings Canadian basketball fans a chance to save up to $300 off on vacation bookings all season long with promo code CEBLFans. I wonder how our mascots would spend their time on vacation. Book today with Red Tag and save $300.
Redtag.ca.
Welcome back to second quarter action here at Envision Financial Court at Langley Event Center. Andrew Savory on the call alongside Cheryl Jean-Paul. And Cheryl, here in the second quarter, Edmonton winning the quarter thus far, thanks in part to an electric 6-0 scoring run. What's been the solution for them to kind of trim down on this lead?
Well, there's a few different things that are happening. Some of their defensive rotations have been pretty sharp, allowing them to force some turnovers from the Bandits, and the ability to show different layers to their game, whether it's knocking down threes, which neither team has been so significant for the three-point shooting to talk about just yet. But the multiple scores, you have Hornsby, you have Nuga, you have Davis Jr., you have Vandemel, you have all 5 players that can score. This is one team that doesn't necessarily have a scorer, where if he doesn't score 40, they can't win. So the Bandits, that's why their defensive rotations are going to have to be a little bit sharper, because they're dealing with 5 significant scores that are okay sharing the basketball.
Devin Brown right to the cup. That was a tough look. Throws it out to Pandy. 10 to work for Kopp. Rise, fires. In and out. Lit on the basket for Vancouver of late. Edmonton wants to strike. Davis Jr. One-handed flush.
McCoy there setting a nice little screen action. Doesn't help if you can't get to help.
Joyner inside to Parolin. Active hands. Pandy, suffocating defense from Edmonton. Kopp, they need this. Front rim, Parolin gets the board. That misses as well. Tons of second chance opportunities. Pandy can't get it to go. 4 missed opportunities for Vancouver on the glass. Lindsay. Foul on the ground, gonna stick with Edmonton right now after that Coach Baker timeout. This has been a different Edmonton group to start the second quarter.
A little bit more urgency, a sense of purpose. Not trying to get too pretty with some of their scoring looks, but again, when we talked about smaller lineups at the onset, technically this is maybe the smaller lineup. Less production from the 5 position from Parolin versus having Samuel on the floor. Who is going to be the guy that steps up and knocks down that open shot? And for the Stingers, it's Mike Nuga.
Right on cue, Mike Nuga. You know he likes to be the villain around these parts. Jarkel Joyner fouled on his way to the hoop. Going to go to the free throw line to try and slow things down offensively for Vancouver. A couple of frenetic looks. Lack of finishes at the rim as McCoy rotates late. Jarkel heads back to the stripe. Tay Donald checks in for Nuga. Bandamel back in. Out there with Hornsby and Jack, as well as Scotty Lindsay.
Trying to manage the pace of this by bringing in almost a completely new lineup. And so again, trying to play with speed seems to be working for them, especially when it starts off of a defensive stop. So it'll be interesting to see if the Bandits try to match speed for speed or slow things down with this. Again, this is kind of one of those matchups that they're trying to create, Jack versus Parolin. So we'll see if Samuel does come back on the floor fairly quickly.
Joyner hits them both. Lindsay, rise, spills out.
Great isolation score for him coming out of that short corner. Just wasn't able to drop that shot. And again, when you're looking at some of the actions that they're running.
And there's a nice action there. Kopp, touch pass right up to Parolin, finished it off.
Earlier in the season, some of the guards seemed to struggle with what type of pass that Don Parolin needed. Miller seems to have figured that out. Just give him time to go off of 2 feet and he can see the ball coming into his space. And now again, playing with a little bit of speed.
Big screen from Parolin. Joyner kicked out to Kopp. He doesn't need much space. Kopp gets inside, swings it, but no one was in the corner. Turnover for Vancouver.
Hornsby really created a bad situation there for Miller. Kopp got him really close to the baseline and made the assumption that he had a corner shooter, but I think that just went to a fan.
Andy was cutting in. Down 5, Edmonton. Very much in this one. Donald, the former Golden Hawk. 9 on the clock for Lindsay. Pulls up. Hornsby gets the board, collapses on it, ripped away. Joyner. Wide open onto the hoop. Lloyd Pandy was on the left side, but he said, gonna take this safe and get it on my right. Vancouver back up 7.
Play until something happens. Joyner didn't like his first, second, or third turns on that one. Finds Lloyd Pandy open.
Blocking foul charged against Joyner. Hornsby immediately recognizing the mismatch. Goes straight up, going to the free throw line for 2.
Jarkel Joyner is really sure that he can stay on the floor right now, helping the coaching staff sway their decision to not take him off of that last one. He does pick up his second foul, so it'll be interesting to see if they go back to Dwayne Otis in the 2 or...
And Coach Baker also taking part in tonight's chess match. You can see Vancouver somewhat regaining its rhythm back in is Baz Davis Jr. He's hitting them both with Hornsby, and here comes Samuel for Pearland.
Well, as we head into the second half of the season, both these teams have had essentially a full week of practice to get ready for, a quick turnaround for back-to-back games. But again, after having half a practice, one shoot around, you're going to see
things. To Samuel! My word! Bringing down the house out in Vancouver.
Miller Kopp again delivering.
Isaac Jack delivering with some patience. But Miller Kopp, the playmaker tonight, a couple of lob passes to Pearland and Samuel. That pass behind Samuel. And Samuel's going to get called for the foul in transition. Tanner Servo with the call. It was a bounce pass that was behind Samuel. Got tangled up getting back. Bonus situation, going to send Bandits to the line. And coming up at the half, we have the CBL top plays from the last week. Chris is going to interview Stingers head coach Jordan Baker. We got first half stats, and we will revisit Cheryl's players to watch as Bandits misses the first free throw. Splits a pair. Samuel on the block against the Port Alberni kid, Isaac Jack. Brown, cold since he hit those 2 threes in the first. Tough pull up, got a piece of it was Bandits. Stingy defense from these Stingers. Hornsby, that was pretty. Gets right to the cup, the all-time leading scorer in franchise history. And don't look now, Edmonton back within a single possession. It's been all Stingers here in the second quarter.
Great job reading what defense is giving you, and right now this really passive transition defense from the Bandits is working in the Stingers' favor. You have to decide what you're taking away. You're either taking away the right-hand drive, you're taking away something. As you see this offensive player coming up the floor, 2 or 3 guys kind of swat at the ball a little bit to see if they can pick off a quick steal. But now you're in foul trouble for the next 3 minutes. Your team is going to cause the other team to take this lead if you don't shore up kind of what you're trying to do defensively. So not a great quarter for the Bandits, giving up a lot of points in that early little first 2.5 minute stretch. Called a timeout to shore some things up. And now they're going into half with, I would say, lackluster effort on the defensive side of things, trying to figure out who's going to step up. We saw certain players on this roster last weekend really make their defensive statement about who they're going to be. And as Coach Rand said at the beginning and the onset, they want to see players that can play both sides of the basketball. Right now, we're just kind of trading offensive scores and seeing who comes up at the top at the end. And I don't think that that's the direction that the Bandits want to go.
Edmonton looking to play spoiler on Terry Fox night. They're coming in on a 3-game winning streak. Back-to-back wins against the Mamba and a win against the Calgary Surge. And right now, you can see they were searching for the threes to fall, but now they're just getting out on the run, forcing Vancouver to hustle back. And it's been a committee scoring approach. We've seen Isaac Jack with 4 points, Hornsby with 6, Stanley Davis Jr., Trey King, Tay Donald, everyone getting in on the action, including Bandits. And you can just see the depth of Edmonton forcing their way back into this game.
And Hornsby is not trying to find his offense right now. He's not forcing anything. He has 5 assists on the game so far. So when you have your critical scorer that's creating for others in transition in the half court, good things are going to happen.
Bounces around. Davis, fake pass indeed. He lets it go to Bandits. He hits it. Could that be a turning point for momentum for these Stingers, now regaining the lead for just the second time tonight?
Now you see it, now you don't. A little fancy on that little play action there as he drove to the basket.
Joyner dribbles his way out of trouble. Has to work quick. Kopp, rise, hits the free throw. That's his spot. Stopping on a dime. Hornsby, another pass. Bandamel to the cup, right around Pandy, and they're going to call a charge. That's the Defensive Player of the Year from 2024, showing exactly why Lloyd Pandy has been a huge addition to this Bandits group.
It was a critical defensive stop. Clearly there's a momentum shift right now, being able to take the lead back, but establishing championship defense is going to be critical for the Bandits this season. These players were not brought in here just to win games. They were brought in to win a championship, and so seeing what kind of adjustments both coaching staff are going to make. Pandy picking up another foul.
Arms interlocking as Pandy looked to drive to the left of Bandamel. Going to bring it the other way. No easy baskets for Vancouver. The defense from Edmonton really coming through, holding Vancouver to just 17 points here in the second quarter.
With a minute 50 left in the game, Pandy coming out, Parolin coming back in, going to this two-big lineup. And for Pandy, this becomes about something that happened the last game where, you know, he wasn't on the floor for the last 2 minutes and the game got out of hand a little bit. So protecting him with those two fouls. We'll see him again in the third quarter.
Samuel on the glass once more. That's his 8th board tonight. Joyner goes right into the body of Jack, gets it to go off glass late on a Friday night. Davis Jr., the look away. Samuel was there. Great defense from the big man out of LaSalle. Touchdown pass was there for a moment. A little bit too far for Miller Kopp.
I thought you were going to zig, and you zagged. A little bit of a, I had you. But again, we're looking at certain things, certain stat lines. Edmonton right now, the only thing that's really missing in their game is the fact that they're not really knocking down a ton of threes. But in terms of the scoring looks that you're getting, your paint touches, your ability to score in transition, one of the reasons why they're only down by 3 right now is that they've surpassed the fast break points. So they're finding the solutions quite quickly. And so if you're the Bandits, your defensive rotations have to sharpen up quite a bit going into the second half. If you're Edmonton, don't fix what ain't broke. Just keep going back to the same good things that have been generating really good offensive scoring looks.
And Edmonton clearly understanding that Joyner's adept at getting into the lane. You can see that defense really collapsing. And with Vancouver also not hitting too prolifically from 3 tonight, it's forcing Joyner to kick it back out. There's been some tough contested looks, especially for the likes of Tevin Brown, who really hasn't been a part of the offense here in the second quarter.
Well, if you think about that one more pass, we've seen Edmonton do that a few times. Drive, get deep, kick it out, one more. That's the offensive scoring threat. The Bandits are kicking it out, and that one player is trying to do a little bit too much of the basketball, taking shots that are maybe a little bit too challenged. So they're just going to have to recognize, try to get Edmonton into a second or, you know, tertiary defensive rotation. Force them to see if they can give the shooter just that extra second. That's all they need. And we know that the Bandits have a lot of shooters that can knock down shots. They just might need that extra one more pass.
And for Edmonton, it's a big boost off the bench. You talk about Baz Davis Jr. and co. Mike Nuga hitting a 3 tonight. They're leading in fast break points, and they're plus 10, 20-10 in bench production. Less than a minute left here in the first half. Bandamel rises over Parolin. High arc and shot doesn't go. That's going to be Vancouver basketball as we have Shamar Gibbons checking in for the first time tonight, his second game this year, and his first at home. You didn't catch him on the road in Winnipeg a couple weeks ago. That was a big loss for the Bandits, but really being a steady point guard presence, and they definitely need him tonight. A returning Bandit from last year in Gibbons. Here's Notice. Up top to Samuel, tough catch. Gets 2 hands on it, inside to Parolin, lost it. Hornsby right at Kopp. Edmonton hanging around off glass courtesy of Nick Hornsby. 1 point ball game. Vancouver the last shot here in the first half. Notice, pulls up from deep. Can't get it to go, and Vancouver is going to head into halftime up 47-46 as Edmonton coming out firing with some athletic plays, some team basketball, and bench production fueling this comeback, Cheryl.
One of the things that we've seen over the span of this first half of the season is the fact that we have two coaching staffs right now that have been in the game for a while. Jordan Baker knows exactly what he's doing. He knows the players that he's playing against. And right now they are finding ways to attack some of these isolation scoring looks. Miller giving up that last scoring look. Hornsby picking and choosing his battles well, knocking down some shots and not necessarily settling for a good shot, but waiting for great shots.
And this is the type of tightly contested game you'd expect from some interprovincial rivals, BC versus Alberta. But more on that from our player of the half. Over to Chris, joined now by Tyrese Samuel.
Reese, you guys got off to a hot start. Edmonton made some adjustments and a deep run there in the second quarter. What happened?
I think we just got lackadaisical, you know what I mean? I think we got to come back out here the second half, be a little more poised. I feel like we're rushing. I just think that we're going to come out here and do what we're supposed to do. I know we're going to go into halftime. We're going to talk about it, so we're going to be all right.
How are you adjusting to this new weird situation you guys are all going through without Kyle Julius, Rand stepping up by committee? You guys are getting things done.
I've been gone for a week, really like 2 weeks for real. But, I'm just here to do my job, give everyone confidence. I want everyone to be aggressive and score, and I'm a fill-in after that. You know what I mean? So I'm just going to continue to be a good teammate and, do what I'm supposed to do.
Appreciate the time. Good luck in the second half. Thank you. There is Tyrese Samuel leading all scorers here tonight with the Vancouver Bandits, and heavy on the glass too, guys. Back to you.
Thanks so much, Chris. And like we said, Tyrese Samuel wanting to step into that leadership role. We've got lots more analysis on the first half. Closely contested. Bandits up by 1. Don't go anywhere. You're watching CEBL Hoops live on CBC Sports YouTube, CBC Gem, and CEBL Plus.
Smart again. We can roll this time. He throws it up, and Moore cleans it up. Watching it here. And you don't want.
This has been a fun matchup to watch. Tay Donald and Dunmore. And Donald wins this one, stealing it away. Leaves it for King. Throw it down hard, big fella. Full advantage of the timeout to express his opinion to the official. I think his complaint is that Tay Donald used a very similar arm technique to what was called on, on that score, saying
Long on the safety valve. Here's Coyote back with it. Dancing against Johnson. Coyote and denied. Coulthard back with it. Montreal trying to fence. And here is Gurian. And one.
And now, here it is. Here's Nathan Cahill to the hoop. Quincy Guerrier with the two-handed block. Runs the floor. Creates the contact from
Cleveland once again. Ottawa has numbers. It's Elvis. Finds Fudge trailing. The layup drop. And the Ottawa Blackjacks win the game. And here is Fudge finishing it with the left hand.
And who else to finish?
Fudge. What a game for Fudge. 22 points.
Cal Tire, proud partner and tire expert of the CEBL. Shop top tire brands and have peace of mind with Cal Tire's price match guarantee. Shop and book at caltire.com.
Singers have come back from 12 down in target score time. Do they have one more stop and score? Dunmartin for the win! Missed it! Rebound to Davis. Stinger fans are loving this. Hornsby, Boursier, Davis, driving, up high, got it! Stingers win! Stingers win! They come all the way back! Baz Davis Jr. What a finish! What a finish to the game, and what a finish on that score. That high off the glass, with pressure on his body. That's a high level of skill. Well, we talked about it. How How often have we seen in target time, it looks like one team is in control? I was trying to do the math while I was talking, and it wasn't working very well. Thanks for bailing me out. Appreciate that.
Cleveland now. Fudge once again. This time he drives it, absolutely throws it down. Alex Fudge with authority. Dumps it off. Caio pump fakes. Can't get that one to go. And Cleveland quickly up ahead. Harmon lobs it and Moore finishes it with two hands. Count it. One more at the line for Isaiah Moore.
Finishing essentially both quarters with shot clock violation when technically that's when your players...
Oh! What a shot there by Jarkel Joyner Knight.
Wow. We've seen a couple of buzzer beaters the entire...
Isaiah Fox is still talking to the referees. A half-court shot for Nuga. Oh my goodness! And that kind of sums up this second quarter. It's in a 6-point Stingers lead after 20 minutes of play. The Mamba need to go back to the drawing board. And the Stingers, they're feeling good right now, Eric.
Yeah, the Mamba have to be really upset by that. They only had 4 players.
What keeps me going? Under the heat of the sun or in the heat of the moment. When climbing for even one more second seems like too much. Whether you're reaching for your goal or busy setting new ones, everyone hits their limit, but that limit has a reset. Scientifically formulated to hydrate faster in the moments that matter. Electrolyte, instant hydration.
Halftime high above Langley Event Center, beautiful skies of the lower mainland. We're coming at you from Envision Financial Court, where the Vancouver Bandits had as large as a 13-point lead over these stingy Edmonton Stingers, but a big 26-19 second quarter has head coach Jordan Baker and these Stingers right back in the thick of things, down one, Cheryl. As we look at some of the highlights from the first half, it was the athleticism, it was the speed, and the bench production of this Edmonton team that got them back in this game.
Multiple scoring threats. You don't have anyone scoring more than 8 points a game, but you've got quite a few that are close. So the ability to create great scoring looks for each other seems to be coming with a lot of ease. And again, Jordan Baker-esque basketball player. Don't need a 40-point scorer, but if you have 5 guys that can score 10, a lot of good things are going to come from that. So Trey King sat out a lot of that second quarter, even though he was kind of the spark plug in the first quarter for the Edmonton Stingers. So introducing him back into the game is going to be an interesting, yet another. Now that everyone else has found their scoring looks, what do they have to do to keep that going? The big part for them, 14 assists, only 7 turnovers, maintaining that ratio, taking good care of the basketball, finding the right shots, and potentially even knocking down a few more threes than they had. For the Bandits, not knocking down the same type of shots. Offense looks and feels a little bit disjointed. You see little moments and little sparks, and then you see kind of some, oh my goodness, what were we actually trying to do there? So Tyrese Samuel, 10 points. Jarkel Joyner, 11. A lot of those are some isolation scoring looks. So really trying to figure out how they can reconnect and find a way to create some really good offense going into the second half.
And we saw it in that interview heading into the half with Samuel. He said, we've just been passive. We've been lackadaisical. And as we look at the halftime stats, the assists not at even. Not showing here, though, is the turnover margin for Vancouver. They've committed 8, which is well on pace to succeed, normally where they're clocking at on an offensive end of things, a little bit careless with the basketball.
Well, we've seen them get to the free throw line. That's not uncharacteristic of the Bandits. That 21% three-point shooting is something that if you're going to find a way to make that up, it has to come from either a defensive side of things or you have to create better scoring looks for each other off of the dribble. So we've seen Miller go to that mid-range. changed. We've seen Tyrese back down in that short corner trying to find that next shooter, but we've also seen turnovers that have come from the exact same plays, trying to do a little bit too much with the ball in their hands. So one of the things that we've seen adjusted with the roster that they have now is the ball is in multiple players' hands a little bit more, but sometimes it's not always a good thing.
And for Edmonton, their bench outscoring Vancouver's second unit 20-10, scoring by committee. A key reason head coach Jordan Baker's squad is right in the middle of this ball game, very much still up for grabs. We'll hear from Coach Baker right after the jump. Don't go anywhere. You're watching CEBL Basketball live on CBC Gems, CBC Sports YouTube, and CEBL Plus.
All right, sticks in the middle. Can I join you guys? All right, let's go.
Whether it's on the ice or on our app, always play for the fun of the game. Gamble responsibly with Play Alberta.
The CDIC was established by the Government of Canada to protect deposits in case of bank failure. Coverage is free and automatic when you bank with a member institution.
Whoa, thanks.
That's my job.
Protecting your deposits, that's what we do.
You don't just fuel your body, you fuel your drive. We're not here to preach hustle. We're here for the ones who show up. You know who you are. The moms who make mornings feel like magic. The runners lacing up before the scroll. The dreamers writing it down before it's real. And we're here for you. Real fruit, real fuel. Booster juice. Fuel for what's next.
redtag.ca.
The CDIC was established by the Government of Canada to protect deposits in case of bank failure. Coverage is free and automatic when you bank with a member institution.
Whoa. Thank you. That's my job. So you were saying.
Protecting your deposits, that's what we do.
At Cal Tire, we're here to drive the best value around with free rotations, price match, 0% financing, and free flat repairs. We take care of it all for the life of your tires. Chat with our team at caltire.com.
Welcome back to Langley Event Center and Envision Financial Court. It was a big first half for both squads, but the secondary unit led by Baz Davis Jr., one of our players to watch, Cheryl, he really helped fuel the offense.
You're looking at the stat line and some numbers that jump out at you. Your two top offensive players, Baz Davis Jr. with 4 assists, Nick Hornsby with 5, finding ways to score. They have 7, 8 points each, but they are finding ways to get involved, getting downhill, moving the ball quickly. And again, this offense can be potent when all wheels are rolling in the same direction at the same time, which is something that we're seeing in this first half. Lloyd Pandy there going in for his layup. Key player to watch. His issue right now, foul trouble. 2 fouls picked up in that first section of the game, and so we haven't seen him for a little bit, so we'll see if he can find his lockdown defense heading into the second half.
A lot more around the corner in the second half from both of these two gentlemen. Davis with 7 points, Pandy with 4. Chris joined now by Stingers head coach Jordan Baker. Over to you, Chris.
Coach, 2 identical quarters in scoring, just completely opposite. What changed for you guys in the second quarter?
Yeah, we did a better job taking care of the basketball, not allowing them to get out in the first 6 seconds and get an easy one. So I'm hoping to continue that in the second half here.
Well-rounded scoring effort for your group. Is that the identity of the Edmonton Stingers now that you've lost Dane Danger?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't had Dane for a few games, but yeah, we're getting guys. We want to be all 5 guys on the floor can be a threat to put the ball in the basket. They're switching lots of things, so it's for us to find the best opportunities, the best matchups, and try to share it as much as we can.
Yeah, heavy bench scoring for your group as well, outscoring Vancouver's bench. How important is your bench energy down the stretch here?
Yeah, I mean, we rely on those guys to bring a little bit of energy, a little bit of scoring punch off the bench, and, you know, they've been doing great for us all year long, so hopefully that continues tonight.
Appreciate the time. Good luck in the second half. Thank you. There is head coach of the Edmonton Stingers, Jordan Baker. Guys, back to you.
You can tell a former player and a coach in their interview, Cheryl. You can hear it, of course, yourself, a coach as well. Hunting matchups, that's what Coach Baker is doing, and clearly finding something in the second quarter. In Edmonton, as we look at the Red Tank path to the playoffs and the standings watch, slowly working their way back up. It was the Mamba who had that third spot, and now the Edmonton Stingers with that 6-7 record looking to get back to 500. And looking at this Red Tank path to the playoffs, and we look at the standings shaping up, Scarborough 13-2 atop the East, Vancouver trying to hold on to top the West, Winnipeg right behind them.
Well, Calgary right now up by 2, going into the fourth quarter, I believe, against the Saskatoon Mamba. So anything can still happen. There's enough games for a lot of things to change, and we know that with the NBA Summer League coming up, we have some roster changes with teams losing some core players, going and looking at their opportunities in the summer. So there's never a time to settle. There's never a time to get comfortable. Scarborough is going to be one of those teams that's going to lose some key guys too. So you're really looking at this last stretch, the second half of the season, thinking through every guy needs to be ready. Coach Baker talked about all 5 guys. All 5 guys on the floor being a scoring threat, and understanding that as soon as their bench players come onto the floor, they're one of those 5 guys. So it's about maximizing the roster that you have. We've heard so many coaches say this throughout the season, the 5 guys that are on the floor, the team that's before us, the team that we're working with tonight, this is who needs to win this game. These guys are all pros. They can all get the job done.
The Scarborough Shooting Stars atop the Eastern Conference, of course, presented by Lotto Max, picking up a big win tonight, 97-84 over the Montreal Alliance in the Western Conference, presented by Cal Tire. A fierce fight at the top between Winnipeg and Vancouver. 1-1 on the season series. We were talking about it pregame, Cheryl. Bandits going to go back to Winnipeg for another date at Canada Life Center later this July. And then the last game of the regular season, a nationally televised tilt, August 2nd, Vancouver-Winnipeg, could come down to the final game of the season, depending on how things shake up for who sits atop the West.
Well, we analyze these things to death. Coach Rands, like he said in his chat, this is the game right now. This is the most important game. You know, as a coaching staff, you're probably talking through every single scenario possible, but when you're in front of your guys, all you're talking about is the game at hand. They don't want to overlook, and he mentioned not overlooking the Stingers team, and right now, 47-46, up by 1 at the beginning of this second half. This is not a team that they can overlook because they've already proven they can take advantage of their opportunities.
Overlooked them in that second quarter. Edmonton came out firing and looking to continue that stretch here. Donald nearly got the steal. Back to Joyner. Nine to work. Tight defense from Donald. And that's a moving screen. Charged against Samuel. Not the possession that Vancouver wanted coming out of the break. Samuel, his second personal.
Tate Donald doing a great job of sticking with Jarkel Joyner again. Joyner expecting to be released. We saw that against Winnipeg in their previous game where he was able to create that separation coming off that screen. Edmonton, they've seen that movie, so clearly they made some adjustments this week getting ready for the Bandits.
Dribble penetration for Scotty Lindsay. First basket of the half goes to the Stingers. Going to the hoop is Samuel. Lost it, batted around, regains it. Bull on a China shot. Tyrese Samuel throws it up, taps it in. It wasn't pretty, but they'll take it.
Made him work for that basket. Multiple different scoring looks. It's so interesting sometimes players want the refs to let them play as long as it doesn't impact their ability to score. Having some words for the officials as he comes down.
Donald, great hustle as Samuel trying to tie up his shoe. Hornsby just puts up the floater. Samuel trying to tie up his shoe, was never dialed in on that possession. Not in the rebound, not in the offensive push. And he commits back-to-back fouls, and that's going to have him subbed out. And you can see the body language from Samuel, not impressed with the calls, and he's going to be subbed out for Parolin, having to sit with his third personal.
Well, I guess that is the best way to tie your shoe, is to push your opponent out of bounds. Give yourself a few times. So, again, it'll be interesting to see next man up mentality. Dom Parolin now coming out, likely to play some extended minutes.
Now Lloyd Pandy, you mentioned he was in foul trouble. That's going to be his third personal. This Vancouver group really going to have to come together. Edmonton riding the momentum of a big second quarter. You had the initial stop from Miller Kopp, but a second chance opportunity for the captain, the all-time leading scorer in franchise history, Nick Hornsby, leading the way on Friday night. Converts the and one. Character building moments for this Vancouver group. Edmonton pressing. Joyner pulls up from way back. Can't get it to fall. Not the Bandits' night from deep tonight. Bandamel driving on Parolin, throws it up, gets the roll.
Yeah, the Edmonton, they're pushing the ball up the floor quickly, getting it back. They're finding that the best way to attack this Bandits defense is just to go from the front of the rim downhill.
Spills out for Parolin. Vancouver settling from deep right now. Donald right to the basket. Met by Brown. Joyner. Bandamel. Backpedaling, commits the foul. Looking out of sync offensively as Vancouver. You can see they're looking for someone to guide them offensively. No one stepping up thus far. It's been Jarkel Joyner the past few contests. Can he be Spider-Man once again? Tyree Samuel said he saved the city before, and right now it looks like he may need to do so again tonight with Samuel on the bench. Bandits fans are bringing the energy every night, and you can be part of it this season. Tickets are available by scanning the QR code or visiting thebandits.ca/tickets. Another game this Sunday against Calgary, a matinee. Brown can't hit the pull-up. Tough looks on offense for Vancouver. Bandamel right into the arms of Parolin, gets his own board. Here's Joyner. Pandy going right to the hoop, met by King, who rotated over. A little bit too much body, and Pandy is going to go to the free throw line. Could this be the recipe for Vancouver, getting 2 points the hard way?
Coach Baker mentioned it at halftime, being able to stop what the Bandits do for that first 3 seconds of the shot clock and force them to have to go into a little bit more of a 5-on-5 game. Jarkel Joyner using some speed, giving up the basketball, being able to stay downhill. Pandy, some nice little footwork there to draw contact, maybe not so much to finish that. Uncharacteristic. Sometimes as a team, you've had a few days to practice. You might have had some days off. And it just seems like they've lost a little bit of their motor over the last little stretch, knowing that there's a pretty important stretch of games coming up for them to maintain their lead in this Western Division. But sometimes you feel like, yeah, we can just turn it on when we need to turn it on. They're going to have to be careful to assume that this Edmonton Stingers is not going to take that personally. If you're not going to turn it on, we'll take full advantage of that.
Huge rotational D from Vancouver. Cobb from another postal code. In and out.
Okay, Clayton Clark. There's no, well, we have our envisions.
Pandy, they need this.
Logo.
Vancouver 0 for 5 from deep here in the third quarter. Donald. He's not 0 for 5. He's 1 for 1 here in the third. And Edmonton padding this lead with team basketball. Joyner. Tough look at the rim. Jack was rotating over. Coach Baker thought Joyner was out of control, but either way, he's going to head to the free throw line for 2 shots. Vancouver really having to work hard just to muster any offense so far. Is Baz Davis Jr. going to check in here for Scotty Lindsay as Jack, you can see him going all the way with Joyner to the cup. A little bit of contact against the arm. Joyner, rare miss at the free throw line for Jarkel. The shooting percentage for Vancouver dropping to below 45%, stuck at 41. Splits a pair. Down 5. It's going to be defense for Vancouver. There's going to be nights when your offense isn't clicking. Can your D guide you within? That's a good start from Lloyd Pandy. Pandy called for a travel. So they reward Edmonton with a turnover in kind. This is a dangerous time of the ball game for Vancouver. Stingers winning this quarter 10-3. Up to Brown, touchdown. Touchdown Vancouver. Steal from Pandy ends up in the hands of Brown, the former Blackjack duo in the Bundesliga duo, reconnecting on offense.
And that's definitely what we need to see from those two players, letting your defense create some easy scoring opportunities, making sure you get that finish. And now let's see if this sparks the Bandits offense. Edmonton has been moving the ball well, great isolation scoring look, but the last 2 or 3 plays have involved some turnovers.
Tough look, better offense from Davis Jr. He's all smiles, he knows that was pretty.
Mr. Clutch shows up right at the right time. Bandits looking like they'd regained a little bit of their momentum. That corner 3 fadeaway right in front of the Bandits bench. Great way to remind them he's not finished yet.
Maryland, that's not his shot. Great defense from Jack. Edmonton still up 6. Hornsby right to the cup and 1. Great separation on the drive with the shoulder on Miller Cup. And here come reinforcements for Vancouver. Stepping up, Dwayne Notice, Shamar Givens, Ashton Langford, and Mike Nuga also about to check in for Edmonton. Largest lead of the game. These Stingers, physical, active, and they are not going anywhere. Don't go anywhere. It's an 8-point lead for Edmonton. We'll catch you on the other side of a break. You're watching CEBL basketball live on CBC Gem, CBC Sports YouTube, and CEBL Plus.
Score! Big savings on parking at YEG. Use promo code STINGERS to save 20% on airport parking with Jet Set Parking. Affordable parking just minutes from the terminal. Book online at jetsetparking.com/YEG and use code STINGERS to save. Level up your game. Jet Set Parking has partnered with Edmonton International Airport for their new loyalty program, YEG Plus. Jet Set Parking at YEG Plus, a winning way to start your vacation.
Third quarter action here at Envision Financial Court at Langley Event Center. The barrage from the Stingers continues. They're fast, they're furious, and they're looking to pick up their 4th straight win. And it was all Vancouver in the first quarter, but credit to Coach Jordan Baker as they have found the solution to this Bandits offense and defense. And Chris, that timeout recently called. What do you got for us from the sidelines?
Yeah, a tough scene at the Vancouver bench, although Bransford Brempong is doing his best, saying let's make things easier on offense. Then Tevin Brown joined in. He said make them take contested threes. What I'm also noticing about Vancouver is they're doing it by committee. Coach Matt overlooking offense, Coach Lou overlooking defense, and Rands is kind of overseeing everything. So it's that, again, we say by committee on the Vancouver bench, and they've got to turn things around here mid-third quarter. Guys?
Enter Shamar Givens. Enter Dwayne Notice. No Mitch Creek, of course, at World Cup festivities with the Australian national team. This secondary unit, can they help Vancouver get back in it? Tough look. Doesn't fall. Davis Jr. with pep in his step, right around Notice off glass. Too easy. The length right around the outstretched arm of Dwayne. First double-digit lead of the game for Edmonton. Kopp off the dribble, throws it off glass, too strong. This game eerily similar to the first road game for Vancouver against Edmonton when the wheels came off in the third quarter. And right now it's Baz Davis Jr.'s world. We're just living in it.
He could close his eyes at this point and knock down those shots. He is in rhythm. And again, at halftime, some of the comments that were made, just the identity of the Stingers team, multiple players stepping up.
Shamar Gibbons, his first basket at home this season. Davis Jr. heat check. Can they close out this quarter? Still lots of time left for Vancouver. Notice to the basket. Here's Kopp. Great steal from Nuga, and that's going to be a foul charged against Kopp. Getting tangled up as Samuel Mulder coming back. We had a brief Mike Mulder sighting in the first quarter. As you can see, Kopp lost possession. Great defense from Nuga. Took out his legs. In Edmonton, they're energized, they're active, they're playing together. You can really feel the connectivity of this group. And that's what we heard from Coach Baker when Chris interviewed him at halftime. Different players stepping up when called upon.
Heading to the free throw line now, so similar to that second quarter where one of the reasons why they dominate is their ability to get to the free throw line often. And we're just seeing a little bit of role reversal in terms of some of the things that the Bandits typically do and the success that they have, and one of the reasons why they're the top team in the West right now. But there's still a lot of basketball to play. And again, these are teams that are going to see each other again. This is why we talk about some of these. It's not necessarily even the game. It's just the style of play that you're kind of slowly letting the other team pull apart some of the things that you do well. Nuga going to the free throw line here, knocking down that as well. So they're maintaining this double-digit lead right now with 3 minutes left, knowing that they're going to the free throw line. Shamar Gibbons hits that last three. A little bit of respite, but we haven't been able to see them find 2 or 3 really good possessions in a row, and that's one of the reasons why these Stingers have been able to find this scoring look. Davis Jr. getting to the rim.
There's the kick, and there's the finish. Did you cop that? It's Miller time. Can Vancouver stack stops? Can they stack multiple offensive scores? Active hands from Shamar. There's the swing. Trey King III rises. Count the stops for Vancouver. Here's Shamar. That's going the other way. Vancouver trying to find consistent momentum right now. Tough to contain this Edmonton team. And speaking of Edmonton, your summer plans just got serious. Join us for multiple special edition theme nights throughout the season. That blown dunk from Davis Jr., rare miss. You can purchase your Stingers tickets at thestingers.ca/tickets. Kopp, little push, gets the roll. And could it be a missed opportunity on his easiest look of the night for Davis Jr.? A defensive stop. Can Vancouver build upon it?
Well, more importantly for the home Bandits team, getting your fans re-engaged in the process. Now, all of a sudden, these are the defensive stops where the crowd starts getting excited because they can feel the energy shift changing.
Down 7, 2 minutes to go. It's not how you start quarters, it's how you end them. Samuel on Jack, spin cycle with the push. King III with the board. Ashton Langford, why not? Another stop for Vancouver. Samuel gets to his dominant hand, puts it off glass and scores. Taking Isaac Jack to school. Class is in session. Breaking ankles, Baz Davis Jr., he turned with a little flare, but he got nothing but net. You got to follow your shot, my friend.
Coach, my hands were sweaty. I think that was the explanation.
You love the audacity. You just got to execute.
Broke some ankles and then sweaty hands.
Down 5, Cobb, that's a tough leaner, he gets it to go! Are you serious, Miller? Coach Baker's had enough. Off and running, don't look, here comes Vancouver. Hold on to your seats, it's the Wild West at LEC, look at this. Miller, known for shooting off a pass, but off the dribble and the catch. That was pretty, Cheryl.
You know, there's an extended conversation on the baseline right now, just asking about why that wasn't a foul. Tyrese Samuel and Miller Kopp having a conversation there, but just trying to help them understand this is what we saw, this is what it looks like, this is what the ruling is. And again, for a player to come off of that screen and be rotating, it feels like the contact is forcing me to take a tougher shot, but you know, the direction that he was going. And again, just ride this wave. You now have some momentum. You've kind of found your groove. Like you said, it's not how they started this quarter, it's how they finish it. And again, fans are starting to get excited because this is what it feels like when the Bandits play their style of play.
And it's been uncharacteristically quiet. Things drop into a dull hum here at the LEC as Edmonton forcing things on offense, making Vancouver play defense. And all of a sudden, a few line changes, and it really starts with Shamar and Dwayne Notice stepping back onto the floor. Tyrese Samuel comes in. He commits that third foul. He has to lock in defensively as an anchor. Stanley Davis Jr., Baz Davis Jr. misses that dunk, and all of a sudden, Vancouver's only down 2. However, they're not over the mountaintop quite yet. Nuga. Inside, King the third stops the bleeding. Nice recognition from the assist man, the playmaker, Nick Hornsby.
And as Coach said, they're just hunting those matchups, waiting for the additional, and I love the fact that they're not waiting too long.
Tyrese, a near and one. He loves that spin to the dominant hand. Can't quite put enough English on it. The Frenchman's gonna head to the free throw line. Shamar Givens starting to get a little bit more comfortable, reunited with his old team.
Depending on how this game plays out, the storyline is going to be Trey King comes in, makes things happen, and then gets into foul trouble. And, you know, the momentum swings. He's been a big part of trying to find kind of that offensive rhythm for the team.
Samuel hits the first. Dong McCoy coming in, like you said. Trey King, they need him out there. He's kind of the tonic to Tyrese Samuel's fire. Misses the second. Down 3. Chance to go 2 for 1. Kick ball. It is the FIFA World Cup period after all, and Tyrese Samuel says, I'd like a spot in that game versus Morocco tomorrow.
I think these are some inside cats. I'm not sure if these guys are outdoor.
He could be a keeper at that height. Inside to Hornsby. Has the mismatch on Givens. 9 to work. Gets the mismatch again. Has his dribble, tough fader over the top. Here comes Mike Mulder. Miller caught to Samuel. He wants to split the defense. Power step, notice, extra pass. Shamar can't get it to go from the corner as Nuga throws up a prayer. Leaves it short. Vancouver was down double digits, but clawing their way back. We have a barn burner of a fourth quarter right around the corner, folks. Edmonton up 3, 70-67. You're watching CEBL basketball live on CBC Sports YouTube, CBC Gem, and CEBL Plus.
You don't just feel your body, you feel your drive. We're not here to preach hustle. We're here for the ones who show up. You know who you are. The moms who make mornings feel like magic. The runners lacing up before the scroll. The dreamers writing it down before it's real. And we're here for you. Real fruit, real fuel. Booster juice. Fuel for what's next.
Did you know that every CEBL game ends on a game-winning bucket? Yep, every single one. That's because we use something called target score ending, a thrilling twist that keeps fans locked in till the final shot. So what is the target score ending? Here's how it works. The first time the clock stops with 4 minutes or less left in the fourth quarter, the game clock is turned off. We enter target score time. We take the leading team's score, add 9 points, and that becomes the target score. Let's say it's 91-80. That means the first team to hit 100 wins. No ticking clock, no intentional fouls, just pure clutch basketball. It's fast, it's electric, and it guarantees that every game ends with a bang. Experience the target score ending this CEBL season.
Welcome back to Envision Financial Court, and it's time now for the Cal Tire Cruise of the Game, courtesy of Tyrese Samuel, up high and down hard with a two-handed flush. Your Cal Tire Cruise of the Game, courtesy of someone pretty well known for throwing down a thunderous dunk or two. They're going to need him big time in the fourth. Chris, you're roaming the sidelines. Vancouver on the comeback trail. Edmonton looking for their fourth straight win.
Yeah, heading into the fourth quarter, head coach Ransford Brempong saying that last few minutes, that's the standard. If we continue to play like that in the fourth, we win this game. That's the standard.
Speaking of the standard, Shamar Gibbons sacrificing the body as you speak, Chris. That's the culture, obviously, Kyle Julius has brought to this group. Joins as head coach and GM in 2020. Stays as GM for a few years. Head coach since 2023. Currently serving the final game of a 3-game suspension. Coach Rand's trying to ensure that culture stays. And Shamar Gibbons giving it his all, sacrificing his body. A 3 to tie it, or a 2 can get them within 1. Resetting to Shamar. Trying to put Tate Donald on skates. Goes for the layup, can't get it. Donald to Nuga. He hit a 3 in the first half. Can't get that one to fall. Second chance opportunity for Bandamel. Back to Emmanuel. Samuel with 3 fouls. And that's going to be his fourth as I say it. Going to get called for the reach.
Black 8.
Black 8. Excuse me, I was going to say that didn't look on the tape like it was Samuel. 3, it was on Shamar, excuse me. So Shamar reached over, which might explain why he was the most animated after the whistle blew. Vancouver, they got stops late in the third. Tate Donald dials it up. Strong start to the fourth quarter for the alumni from Laurier. Back up 6. Mulder, that's a tough dish inside. Bounce pass into traffic. Turnover Vancouver. Bandamel, wide, open. Coach Rand says that's not how we play basketball. That's a quick and necessary timeout. Down 9, as close as 3 for Vancouver. Stingers back-to-back trays. Time now as we look ahead to games right around the corner. Edmonton Stingers will return home for their next game where they will host the CEBL's second highest scoring team, the Winnipeg Sea Bears. Tip-off is this Sunday at the Edmonton Expo Center at 4 p.m. Mountain. Then for the Vancouver Bandits, they're staying at home after tonight, continuing their homestand when they take on CEBL veteran Rugsy Miller-Moore and the Calgary Surge here at Envision Financial Court at Langley Event Center. Catch the action live nationally this Sunday at 12:30 Pacific, 1:30 Mountain. Catch it on CBC, CBC Gem, CBC Sports YouTube, and CEBL Plus. Cheryl, not a great start to the fourth quarter for Vancouver. They ended the third quarter on a terrific run, some defensive lapses, some forced offense, that turnover from Mulder. They need to fix this in a hurry. Time is not on their side anymore.
some of the challenges that you face when you're an interim head coach is that how quickly do you pull the trigger on certain things, and then what's going to be the impact. We saw Samuel not really show well to start that third quarter, sits for a little bit. You know, there's times as a coach where you have to decide, if the situation doesn't piss the athlete off, do I have to do that as the head coach? So we'll see what kind of fire and energy that the Bandits come out with this. Again, their inability to get downhill quickly has really slowed what they're trying to do in the half-court setting, and that's not necessarily where they had a ton of success. Miller going for an unsuccessful little floater there.
Last touch by Edmonton. Samuel thought it might have deflected back off of Bandamel. Miller forcing it on the pick and roll. Vancouver, goose egg to start the fourth quarter. Bandamel hit a three, why not? Can't get the next one to go. Vancouver basketball checking back in is Jarkel Joyner. One of his lower scoring performances in his Bandits tenure. Only 5 shot attempts, 3 of 5, 12 points. Samuel going right at McCoy. Draws the foul, locking arms with a dong.
Jordan Baker's okay with that foul. Younger player coming in, you have some fouls to give. Don't give him the big play, make him work a little bit harder, but more importantly, you handled the spin, the attempted spin, which is great. Not letting go to rhythm.
Jarkel Joyner looking to find his rhythm. They need him in a big way, back within 6 from the land beyond. It all starts on defense. Samuel all over Hornsby. And Samuel's going to get called for pushing in baseline. And that's his 4th. Has to be careful. He's at 4. He says, I can stay on. Has to be very responsible the rest of the way. If they're going to let him stay on, Tate Donald misses the 3. You know Baker's going to be looking to get Samuel out of this one. Jarkel right to the hoop, fouled by Nuga across the arm. Jarkel active in the fourth quarter, energized. They need a spark plug. Can Joyner be that? Blows by Nuga, foul across the arm. Jack checking in for McCoy. Also coming back, Baz Davis Jr. for Nuga. A big third quarter for Baz.
Spark plug energy, but more importantly, 3 minutes into this fourth quarter, seeing if he can find another way to have an offensive fueled spin. You know, you look at what the Bandits are doing, they're getting 1 good possession and then 2 lackluster in a row. So at this rate, this is not the style of play that's going to be conducive to victory. So finding ways, finding the right rotations, finding the right, and again, despite the lineup on the floor, the one thing that the Stingers have done is that someone has stepped up to be an energy giver. Finding ways to get Bandamel come in, flies in, get a great offensive rebound, maintains that possession for the team, keeping the offensive simple, keeping the ball moving, waiting until they get the isolation score, and that's a shot that he's loving.
And that's an isolation score for Davis Jr. Samuel gave him a bit of space, can't be taken off the dribble and commit a foul. He goes right at Isaac Jack. Kick out to Brown, hasn't hit a 3 since the first quarter, still can't get it to fall. Lindsay, nice hustle to keep it alive. Edmonton with numbers to Lindsay, off the dribble, the push. Rebound to Brown, pushing the tempo. Down 6. Notice about a check-in. Here's Joyner, lulling the defense to sleep, pulls up, can't get the pull-up. Back to Joyner, 10 to work. Pulls up on Bandamel, they need it. Can't get it to go. Now it's going to be on the ground. Samuel giving it his all, fighting for that offensive board. And that's going to bring in Dwayne Notice as Pansy takes a breather. Third team foul against Edmonton. 2.5 minutes from target score time. Vancouver, can they get close before that 4-minute mark? Miller. Samuel pulls up from 3. Not his shot. Not within the cycle of the offense. They need to get easy looks. Davis Jr. right to the cup. Met by Samuel. Great defense. Lot of verticality. 2 hands straight up.
For a player in foul trouble, potentially. Stays vertical.
Jack, 2-handed flush for the Port Alberni kid. The local product doing damage.
There have been far too many possessions where the Bandits find a way of looking at each other after a defensive breakdown, not knowing who's responsible for that.
Not often inbounds play as well. The coach's nightmare, wide open alone under the hoop as Isaac Jack flushed it. Pick and roll between Notice and Samuel. Right now they're getting scores on offense, but they're leaking gas on defense. Parolin getting set to check back in. Crucial free throws here for Samuel. Hits the first. Composure going to be so crucial down the stretch here. Hits them both. And a quick breather for Samuel. You know Coach Rands wants to give him a rest before target score time. He knows that this game looks like it's going the distance. Edmonton looking to play spoiler. Brown nearly had that. Bandamel drives on Parolin. Donald step back. Cans it. Tate Donald says, I'm him tonight. Edmonton has just hit big shots when called upon. Parolin, the swing to Brown. Drives, pulls up. Tevin Brown takes contact, no whistle. Trading 2s for 3s. Edmonton still up 7. Donald right to the cup. High off glass. Dribble penetration. Vancouver unable to rotate in time. Caught, rises, doesn't fall. Donald having an impressive game, 13 points, 4 assists. Right around Parolin, batted around. And we're gonna have a foul on the floor. Donald was looking to get into the paint. 29 seconds away from target score time. Vancouver with 3 team fouls, Edmonton with 4.
The last few games, we've seen some of these end-of-game situations with the Bandits not managing their leads well. It's going to be very interesting because there's been very few games this season where they've been down going into target time and having to figure out what type of scoring looks to achieve from there.
Brown doing everything he can. Notice his biggest 3 of the ball game. And he says, let me adjust my sock quick. Comes up stumbling. Looks like he's calling for a sub. And Brown's going to commit the take foul. Notice, hope he's okay. Came up favoring that ankle immediately. Mulder to check in on the other side of target score time. Hold on to your seats. Edmonton up 6. Vancouver trying to get back within it. Don't go anywhere. You're watching CEBL basketball live on CBC Gems, CBC Sports YouTube, and CEBL Plus.
Let's bring it on. It's game time. It's showtime.
You gotta love a Canadian hoops. Two hands. it wins. Target score time is the best time of a game. The energy, the drama, and anything can happen.
Big players step up in big time. He is cooking.
Closing time in Vancouver at Envision Financial Court at Langley Event Center. Beautiful nighttime skyline of the West Coast. And of course, Edmonton coming in from Alberta. The rivals of these Vancouver Bandits playing spoiler on a Friday night. They won the third quarter. They're winning the fourth quarter. They won the second quarter. And Vancouver just trying to hang around each time they've gotten close. Cheryl, this Stingers squad has had the answer with each game of runs. And Baz Davis Jr., your player to watch, coming up big time with 16 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. Can he play hero here in closing time?
The key to both of these teams is who wants to play team basketball enough and long enough successively through several possessions to be able to win this game. Edmonton has only turned it over 3 times in the second half. And for the Bandits, a team that's used to getting out and running and scoring in those first few seconds, they've done a great job of limiting their scoring looks early in the shot clock, forcing them to have some riskier shots, and also getting into trouble with the shot clock. So, Baz, step back. Not that time.
Brown, just 4 of 11 tonight, settles it down. Joyner, 2-man game with Samuel. Steps back, pulls up, doesn't fall. Degree of difficulty on shot making for Vancouver. Tough looks tonight as Davis Jr. gets right to the cup. Too easy. He's been a villain around these parts, and it's been all him as Edmonton within 7.
He has been clutch for the Stingers, especially in the last 2 games. And again, previous target score, we've seen Jarkel Joyner with the ball in his hands a lot. So now Tyrese Samuel decides to attack that matchup against Jack. Really having a hard time staying with him throughout his entire move. You can see it kind of slipping away a little bit as Hornsby checks back in here.
Samuel driving on Jack. Vancouver target score set at 94. Chris, what did you get from us for the break?
Just an update on Dwayne Notice after hitting a couple of big shots tonight. They're going to need him in target time. Just got that ankle taped up. He should be back on the floor. Hopefully, we'll see. But they're going to need him here in target time. Just get an ankle taped and should be good to go.
Thanks so much, Chris. As Samuel hits the first. Notice hit that 3. Might have landed on a shoe. Came up lipping. Tightening up that ankle. We'll see when he comes back. First off the bench in target time. As Samuel hits them both, it's going to be Parolin. Coming in from Mulder. So Vancouver going to the 2 bigs, Parolin and Samuel, to try to lead the comeback.
This is a lineup that can do some different things with their length, but their defensive rotations are going to have to be a big part of that. Their ability to defend and get to a defensive rebound. Your opponent knows how to knock down some big shots and doesn't need a lot of possessions to do it.
Miller, Cobb, great defense. Lindsay blew by Samuel, swatted the layup attempt. 13 on the clock. It's all defense the rest of the way for Vancouver. Wide open on the inside. Samuel rotates over, and they're going to count it. They want to look it over. Andre Babic with the call. Fans don't like it. Boo is pouring out here at LEC. So we get another look. Samuel rotates. Rejection ruled off. 5 away for Edmonton. Here's Brown. Samuel, tough catch, and that's a block at the rim. Gonna send Samuel to the line. Had the wind knocked out of him. Looks like a little bit shaken up. You can see favoring that right leg. And this would be a huge loss for Vancouver, but he's getting up under his own power. Gonna try and walk it off.
Big collision there just outside the chart circle. You know, for it's interesting because as much as the fans hate that last call, the bigger issue is that they've scored or have had great scoring looks on that baseline inbounds where both defenders are flying out the three-point shooter and this player is wide open on the low block. So as upset as the fans are getting, it's even more upsetting when someone is that open in target time on a baseline inbound. So Samuel can spin things around here, down by 7 with one more free throw to come. Few more points away, but realistically this team needs to find ways to offense, defense their way into a possession game. Don Parolin coming in, finding little ways to influence this game. Is able to maintain possession right now with a deflection off of a Stingers player. And we'll see if, again, what type of scoring look the Bandits can find their way through it.
Brown, they need it. They get it. Tevin Brown, hero ball 3. Vancouver within 4 of tying it and within 9 of winning it. Edmonton 5 away. And Samuel, that's going to be his 5th. Going to be called for the hold. Adding insult, as that's going to put them into the bonus. 2 shots for Hornsby. Vancouver being their own worst enemy tonight. Each time they've been knocking, they've had a defensive lapse. They've committed a careless foul. And the hometown crowd try to get loud right here. Hornsby hits the first. A big game player, Nick Hornsby. If he hits this next free throw, Edmonton will be within 1 possession of icing this ball game. He hits them both.
We talked about the momentum shift in the third quarter where the Bandits were able to go on a 10-0 run. That's something that they're going to need here, but who is going to be the one that steps up? Tevin Brown, bang, next time down the floor. Saw it from one side, hits the next one.
It's 3-point denial defense for Vancouver. 3 wins it for Edmonton. Donald's hit a few. Vandemel can hit it also. So can Hornsby. On Parolin, driving, pulls up. Doesn't fall. Tevin Brown hit 2 straight threes. Looking to go deep in his bag on Bandemel. Gets the space, pulls up. Tevin Brown, he hits it! Unconscious. Tevin Brown, we have a tie ball game. Coach Baker calls timeout. Looky, Tevin Brown in his bag of tricks. 9-point run from Mr. Tevin.
You had mentioned earlier that some of the shots that were dropping earlier in the game, he went on a little bit of a drought. Well, the drought is over. It's all about the flood. Tevin Brown, bang, bang, bang. And all of a sudden, we have a 1-possession game. Now, it's going to be interesting to see what type of scoring look that the Stingers, are they going to try to win it all on a 3-point shot, get to the rim, get to the free throw line? This is going to be probably the most defensive-minded rotations. It'll be interesting to see who the Bandits have on the floor. Do they make adjustments? Who do they bring on? Who can communicate that? And then, of course, who gets the last shot?
And it came down to a last shot a couple weekends ago for Scarborough, and it was a 3-point attempt, but then it was a couple offensive rebounds. They only needed a 2. And Scarborough was able to pull that one out, but a 2 isn't going to win it here. In the 3-pointer, you can live or die by, as you said, Cheryl, in target score time. You can shoot your way into, you can also shoot your way out of a game if it's not falling. And for Edmonton, couple shooters on the floor. Tay Donald, Emmanuel Bandemel, Scotty Lindsay. Got to be careful. You've got to crash the glass. Into the hands of Tay Donald. Here's the rotation. Checked by Kopp. Here's Bandemel. Driving on Brown. Gets to the hoop. He gets it to fall. Edmonton within 1. And there's the foul from Nuga. Clearly what they talked about out of the timeout. Baker said, take the best shot available and foul as soon as you can. Jarkel Joyner heading to the free throw line. 17 points tonight. Edmonton wants this ball back.
understanding what it takes to win games and target score ending. You know, we talked about the advantage of having those player coaches, and Jordan Baker, having experienced it on both sides, understands that it's about managing possessions. And here, if you give up these 2 free throws, you come down the floor and your opponent has to be perfect. So it's going to be interesting to see, does Joyner miss this on purpose? Did they try to get an offensive rebound? They almost brought Jack in for the board, decided against it. They're going to stick with this lineup.
Hits them both. It's going to take perfect defense. No fouls, no baskets. Coach Baker calls time to talk it over. And what a committee approach it has been for Edmonton. My goodness, Cheryl, 46 bench points for Edmonton, 46 out of their 93. That's basically half of their points, outscoring Vancouver's second unit by plus 30.
Everybody does what they need to do to be able to have success. And again, we talk about those minute details. If your job is to board, you come in and you board. We've had some players for the Stingers that are, you know, probably a little bit more prolific or pronounced when it comes to their offensive contributions, but sometimes it's about what's not happening. You don't have multiple players. Like 2 turnovers is the most that any one player on the Stingers has. That's something that, again, when we talk about not wanting to be on that list of players, averaging 3 or 4 turnovers a game, they're still at 10 turnovers right now heading into this last possession. They've done a great job of staying in this game, and now we'll see if they can close things out. This would be a great win for them on the road in a tough gym for a team that maybe have been looking ahead to some other future games, but having overlooked this opponent, this might have been a costly stretch of 2 or 3 minutes of lackluster play, both on the offensive and the defensive side of things.
We talked about the need for Vancouver to come out firing in the fourth quarter. They were unable to do so, unable to regain that lead. Instead, it was Edmonton. It was the threes from Donald, the threes from Bandamel, the dribble penetration. And here we go. Game on the line.
Baz Davis Jr. back on the floor.
The killer, Baz Davis Jr., kicks out to Donald, blocked from Mulder, and that's going to be a foul rotating over by Miller Kopp. The right call, too much contact. He'll have 2 looks to ice this game as Kopp a little bit too excited. It was a great closeout from Mulder, but a great free throw shooter is now going to go to the line in Tay Donald. And with a single free throw, Edmonton will close out this road trip with its 4th straight win before heading home to take Winnipeg. And a timeout call, they're going to talk it over. Anything can happen. This hometown crowd, one of the best fan bases in the CEBL. And boy, Vancouver's going to need them to really distract the shooting prowess of Tay Donald.
It's so challenging to see 50% of a great defensive play, you know, and there's going to be a lot of 50% video, I'm assuming, in the next day or 2 to get ready for this next opponent. Being able to get half the job done and can't win you a big game. And today, some of those half defensive finishes, getting a great block and then picking up a little bit of an undisciplined foul, just a really tough way to lose this game. But you know, as a coach, when you talk about the last play of the game is not what cost them this game. It is letting all the little things go well for the Stingers in all the wrong times for the Bandits.
Tay Donald, his first free throws of the game, and on the season, Donald, a 63.9% free throw shooter. Big moment and a chance to get back to 500 at 7-7 for Coach Baker and these Stingers. Crowd on their feet. Lots of conversation between these squads right now. Both teams going back to their benches. We'll look for a bit of an explanation here. As we can see, crew chief Tanner Serban chatting things over with Jordan Baker. Baker's feeling good about his team's chances here, of course. A couple of free throws on the other side. Donald waiting to take his biggest free throws of the season And this Western Conference continues to juggle around. Looking at the standings, and tonight, we already talked about the East, a big win for Scarborough, but Saskatoon, coming back and winning in Whitehorse, picking up the win against the Surge, who now fall to 1-13. And now the Mamba back at 7-8. So a win tonight for Edmonton, really going to be crucial for them to stay a step ahead of these Mamba.
It's about the game that you're in, and again, the fault of a lot of young players or inexperienced players thinking that the experience was going to be the same as the last time around. You look at that last game that these two teams played, 111-88 for the Bandits. That's definitely not the game that we're in today. And we'll see how much influence the fans can make to see if they can influence some of these free throws.
Game on the line for Tay Donald. He hits it. Tay Donald plays spoiler, and the Stingers give Vancouver their second loss at home of CEBL Season 8 and pick up their 4th straight win. It's chilly in Vancouver as the Stingers silence the hometown crowd, and they earned this game. And for Vancouver, it was too little, too late. Tevin Brown catching fire in the 4th, but this Stingers group, they stayed connected. They took the counterattacks and the runs from Vancouver, and they earned this win from start to finish.
Little nuances of leadership on and off the floor, waiting for someone to step up. Tevin Brown coming up big from an offensive perspective, but it really was a lot of the defensive lapses. Inbound scores, losing checks in transition, letting players getting downhill. This is not a highlight reel of defensive plays for the Bandits, and there's going to be a lot of little things that they can shore up to make sure that some of these things don't happen again.
And right now, Chris, joined now by a couple of Stingers stepping in as our Booster Juice players of the game. Over to Chris, joined by Tay Donald and Baz Davis Jr., and you got more behind you, Chris.
We got some camera issues, but we'll work it out. That's okay. We'll take our time. Tell me about the target score there. You guys, I mean, what a game. Back and forth, both teams, and then you pulled it off. How'd you get it done?
We just know that sticking together is our biggest strength. So, you know, Go was working with us, downhill pressure. It was hard when they got Samuel out the game, so yeah, attacking the basket.
You guys got a quick turnaround and a home-and-home with Winnipeg. This Western Conference can change quickly. How do you guys continue to climb the ranks in the Western Conference?
We stick together. You see the whole team behind you, right? We stick together regardless. That's what we do. Come on.
Anybody else want to say something? Anybody?
Now we here. Great team win. Player of the game right here. Take it.
There you go, guys. I don't know who the player of the game was, but we'll make it up. Any of those guys. Back to you guys.
They're energized. Your Booster Juice players of the game. Baz Davis Jr., Tay Donald, ice in his veins. What a moment for Tay Donald off the bench, putting this game on ice.
So important for players to understand. Right now, we talk about having seen so many different versions of every team. And every team heading into the second half of the season, they want the best version of themselves to show up. That's what we saw from the Stingers, a team that has been finding their way. 4 games in a row, wins in the Western Conference. When it comes down to it, it's about being ready for that game. If you want to be in the championship game, you got to take care of your conference games first. And this bodes well. The fact that, let's say, people figure some things out, the Bandits figure themselves out, they finish first or second, and they end up having to host a Stingers game in a playoff game. The Stingers know that they came in here and they got business done. So being able to make that statement to yourselves now may play in the Stingers' favor in future.
Edmonton improves to 7-7 on the season. Vancouver falls to 9-5. Edmonton, chance to play Winnipeg. They're riding some great momentum off a 4-game streak.
Well, it's not about one player. And again, when you played the Sea Bears last weekend for the Bandits, you had a Teddy Allen problem to solve. And when you solved that problem, you solved the team. The Stingers, it's a little bit more complicated because you have to solve Baz. You have to solve Nuga. You have to solve Hornsby. You have to solve every single player, like Coach said at halftime, has a purpose when they need to get the job done on offense. And again, great team play on offense and on defense. Managing what the Bandits had to do to have success The Bandits didn't seem to have any solutions, but this is going to be a great opportunity to figure some things out and fix it into future games.
Gut check for Vancouver and interim head coach Rans Brempong. Plenty of post-game analysis right around the corner. You're watching CEBL basketball live on CBC Gem, CBC Sports YouTube, and CEBL Plus.
RedTag.ca.
The CDIC was established by the Government of Canada to protect deposits in case of bank failure. Coverage is free and automatic when you bank with a member institution.
Whoa. Thank you. That's my job. So you were saying.
Protecting your deposits, that's what we do.
Score! Big savings on parking at YEG. Use promo code STINGERS to save 20% on airport parking with Jet Set Parking. Affordable parking just minutes from the terminal. Book online at jetsetparking.com/YEG and use code STINGERS to save. Level up your game. Jet Set Parking has partnered with Edmonton International Airport for their new loyalty program, YEG Plus. Jet Set Parking at YEG Plus, a winning way to start your vacation.
At Cal Tire, we're here to drive the best value around with free rotations, price match, 0% financing, and free flat repairs. We take care of it all for the life of your tires. Chat with our team at caltire.com.
The CEBL, Canada's Pro Basketball League, and RedTag.ca brings Canadian basketball fans a chance to save up to $300 off on vacation bookings all season long with promo code CEBLFans. I wonder how our mascots would spend their time on vacation. Book today with Red Tag and save $300.
RedTag.ca.
Welcome back to Postgame at Langley Event Center. An upset as the Edmonton Stingers, coming in with a 6-7 record, leave with a big win, fueled behind a huge performance from their bench. Of course, Tay Donald, 16 points, and Baz Davis Jr., another 18. And this team's going to keep riding a high. They got Winnipeg up next this weekend. And there's lots more CBL action this weekend. You got to tune in. The next game across the CBL is tomorrow, Saturday night, when Khalil Ahmad and the Niagara River Lions host the Ottawa Blackjacks at the Meridian Center as the teams are competing for playoff positioning in the Lotto Max Eastern Conference. Tip-off at 7 p.m. Eastern. You can catch all the action on CBC Gem, CBC Sports YouTube, and CEBL Plus. And Cheryl, a learning moment tonight for Vancouver, a chance to rebound against Calgary, who dropped tonight in Whitehorse against the Mamba. They're going to be hungry for a win. Vancouver has to be careful on this homestand before they head out east. So gather themselves. Of course, Kyle Julius serving a suspension, 3 games. Interim head coach Rans Brempong steps in, looking to regain the culture heading into Sunday.
You mentioned this earlier, gut check time. Who are we actually? Mentioned this in the timeout. Chris overheard them say that 3 minutes, that's who we are. We didn't really see a ton of that after that timeout, unfortunately, and so this is really a time for players to figure out who they want to be. This is a team that is built to win a championship, but this was not championship basketball today, just leaving too many gaps, allowing players to attack the seams. Their defensive rotations were a little bit late. Offensively, they did a lot of the things that they typically do. It just was not enough. So if the goal was to outscore the team, they didn't do that. If the goal was to stop the team, well, they didn't do that either. And so this is really where that identity check, Coach Julius coming and stepping back in and saying, okay, refresh. Now you're hearing my voice. You may not like me for the next day or two until we get back to the style of play for an entire game, not just 2 or 3 minute stretches.
Full 40 minutes is what they're looking for. Vancouver falls to 9-5. They're 1-0 on the season against the Calgary Surge. Sunday's game, a matinee affair, nationally televised on CBC, 12:30 p.m. Pacific. Tip-off to the entire team up in the booth. Carson, Taylor, all our friends upstairs, for Chris on the sidelines, my running mate Cheryl Jean-Paul, I'm Andrew Savory. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll catch you next time on CEBL Plus, CBC Gem, and CBC Sports YouTube.